and prone to say or do things that you normally wouldn't.
Yeah, that's a key difference. Alcohol doesn't make you confident. What it does is it removes your inhibitions. Confidence is like knowledge and experience of the world with 50%. Did I hear that right? 50%? That's nuts. That is nuts. I didn't realize it was that high. Hey, how you doing, everyone? Everyone doing good? Cool. Glad to hear it. So, a little while ago, I made a reaction video to a video called Why Does Fentanyl Feel So Good? You can see a link to that over here. Help yourself. Right now, I'm going to do a new reaction. Alcohol is amazing. Obviously, this is a topic that I'm sure is near and dear to everyone. I haven't watched this yet. I do know a few things about it, like a couple of little factoids. So I know, for example, like alcohol is one of the worst drugs you can have. So right now, I'm going to watch it, see how it goes.
Alcohol is the most harmful substance on Earth. Every year, it kills more people than terrorism, wars, homicides, and car accidents combined. It injures tens of millions in accidents, violence, and crime, while keeping hundreds of millions trapped in disease. If it didn't exist already, inventing it today would be unthinkable.
A lot of people say that, and I really do think it's true. It's like, what's the expression? It's been grandfathered in. In other words, because it's always been there, it's like people just accept it. But like, if I think to when I was growing up in Northern England, I mean, you know, alcoholism was probably rampant. We just didn't really think of it that way. But like people drinking a lot every day after work was just considered normal. It was almost a rite of passage, which thinking back now is actually kind of messed up.
And yet, more than 2 billion people drink. Most of us can't imagine a barbecue without beer, a wedding without wine, or a fancy soiree without champagne. We have a drink at the weekend because it's the weekend, but also after work, when we're stressed and when we're relaxed.
Happy. Yeah, it's any excuse for a drink, basically.
Sad.
It's terrible the more I think about it.
And happy. At home and outside. Alcohol is kind of a paradox. Why do we cling so much to the thing that harms us the most? You after one drink. Alcohol is a biological weapon that yeast produces during fermentation to wipe out its competition. In alcoholic drinks, it's mixed with water and flavored with everything from fruits to caramel. With just one sip, 6 stillions of alcohol molecules flood your stomach and small intestine. From there, they head to your liver, your primary detox center, and to other organs like the brain.
Little random fact for you. If you do drink a lot, it's the reason why it's hard to lose weight isn't because of necessarily the calories in the beer per se. It's because your liver is constantly having to process the alcohol and break that down. But your liver also breaks down fats. But when you're drinking or after you've drank, your liver will prioritize getting rid of the alcohol. So it's almost like you get the calorie boost from the drink, and then your liver also struggles to get rid of the fat because it has to prioritize the booze, and so you end up with a double whammy. And that's why if your goal is to lose weight, stop drinking. At least stop drinking for like a little while until you've got down to your weight, and then if you want to start again, you can start up again.
Your liver can only process about 1 sip of beer every 5 minutes, so unless you drink really slowly, it will become overwhelmed while an ever-growing swarm floods your brain. Here's where the chaos begins. The legion of intruders fills your brain and starts messing with neurotransmitters and receptors. Their sabotage is so complex that scientists aren't fully sure yet about all their mechanisms. But we know that alcohol numbs your neurons, making them slower, and disrupts their communication. This has several effects. It sedates you, melting away tension and stress. It stuns your prefrontal cortex, your center for decision-making and self-control, making you more disinhibited and prone to say or do things that you normally wouldn't.
Yeah, that's a key difference. Alcohol doesn't make you confident. What it does is it removes your inhibitions. Confidence is like knowledge and experience of the world which you can apply in a way where you feel relatively sure of yourself because of your understanding of things. Whereas a lack of inhibition is like you just don't care. And these are not the same thing.
And it releases endorphins, feel-good molecules deeply tied to human connection.
And that right there is where the addictive part comes in, because we constantly crave that dopamine hit.
The chemicals that we produce when we laugh, sing or dance with others, and which help us turn fleeting moments into shared memories. So, after a drink or three, the world doesn't only feel lighter, it feels lighter with others. The invisible walls of insecurity around us begin to soften, and you find yourself becoming a little more you. Less afraid to talk, laugh, sing or share joys and sorrows. Conversations flow easier, smiles last a little longer, and strangers can become friends or lovers more easily.
Yeah, that's why they call it a social lubricant, you know?
So, for a while, it feels like the weight of being human isn't yours to carry alone. Alcohol sits at a sweet spot of gentle relaxation, mild courage and friendly companionship that makes it the perfect social lubricant. One that comes with quite a few costs. Your body on regular drinking. For billions, these rounds become more frequent over time. The occasional drink becomes a weekly habit, then a ritual every other day, catching up with friends or unwinding. And there's always this buddy who drinks way more and has a perfectly normal life. But as the rounds add up over years, the damage builds up.
Yep, liver, kidneys, pancreas, you name it.
The alcohol molecule can dissolve in water and fat, which allows it to invade almost every cell and tissue. And when your body breaks it down, it transforms into acetaldehyde.
That's the stuff that gives you the word. That's what gives you the hangover, from what I understand. It's like, it's not just the dehydration from the alcohol, like your body trying to flush it out. It's this. This is the thing that actually makes you. It really gives you that ugh feeling.
And that wreaks havoc on your tissues, cells, and DNA. In your brain, this shrinks your neurons and severs their connections, making it harder for different parts of the brain to communicate. As your brain withers, your memories fade, your thinking slows down, and your risk of dementia increases. When and how you drink matters. The younger you are, the wider the damage, and the more you drink in one go, the worse you'll make it. The human brain isn't fully...
That's kind of crazy. And you can sort of see that in people who drink quite often, especially now as, like, you know, I'm getting a little bit older. It's like the people I knew who drank a lot and still drink a lot, like, they're noticeably slower. Like, their memory recall goes, they're not as quick, they're not as sharp. It's really bad. It creeps up on you very slowly, this alcohol.
Wired until your mid-20s, so drinking before that age is like smashing wet cement before it's set. In 20-year-olds, blackout drinking episodes have been found to cause mental problems for up to a year, forgetting why you entered a room or having difficulty learning new things. Binge drinking in late adolescence is also one of the highest risk factors for early onset dementia.
Aye.
Then there's cancer. Just as smoking hits your lungs, alcohol causes 8 types of cancer, basically everywhere from mouth to bowel, plus breast cancer in women. Here, risks start at an average consumption of less than 1 glass of wine per day. Beyond that, risks increase. Worldwide, alcohol causes around 740,000 new cancer cases per year, leading to 400,000 deaths. Another victim is your liver. Alcohol disrupts fat metabolism, causing fat to build up in your liver cells. But this often has no symptoms, so you may go on drinking as your liver slowly turns to fat, swells with inflammation, and starts to fail.
That's the scary thing. That is really the scary thing when it comes to things like liver disease or kidney disease, is that by the time you start to get symptoms, it's too late. You're done. You know, you'll have like jaundice, you know, you start to see like a yellow pigmentation in the eyes and in the skin. It's basically like your liver can't process like the stuff that's in your body. I forget the name. I'm sure I'll look it up at some point. And as that kind of goes round, it changes your pigmentation. Like basically, once you hit that point, you're like in a real danger zone. You know, like I heard somewhere your liver can function even if like half of it is like severely damaged. It'll still give you like okay blood numbers, but it doesn't mean it's good.
Final stage is cirrhosis.
Yep.
Your liver is full of scars and barely functioning. This might take over 10 years, but once it appears, it's largely irreversible. Every year, 600,000 people die because they have a liver destroyed by alcohol. Drinking also weakens your heart, raises blood pressure, and increases the risk of stroke and thrombosis, leading to another 500,000 deaths from cardiovascular diseases every year. In terms of looks too, alcohol damages cells around your body, including your skin, which looks older sooner. And not only does alcohol contain a lot of calories itself, it also makes many people very hungry. Drinking is a huge source of weight gain and increases the risk of obesity, opening the door to a cascade of other health problems. When scientists crunch these numbers, they see that health problems can start at about 1 beer a day, and that the chances of premature death start rising significantly at around 3 beers a day for men and less than 2 for women.
That's insane when you really break it down. Well, no, 2 beers a day. That's 14 drinks a week. Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot.
If this sounds like a lot to you, maybe look around. In the EU, the average man drinks the equivalent of almost 3 beers a day. The average woman, almost 1. Similar figures apply to much of the world, especially the West. There's no other drug we consume that gets so close to the edge of harm. It isn't only your body. Alcohol is unique for another reason: its unmatched ability to destroy others. Alcohol causes a staggering amount of accidents. The numbness and disinhibition of a few drinks can morph you into a clumsy critter eager to take really stupid risks on a balcony, at sea, or on the road. Every year, alcohol-fueled accidents kill 500,000 people, 300,000 of them in car accidents. But more than half of the people who died in those crashes didn't drink. They just died because someone else did. Alcohol is also one of the major causes of violence, from fights in the pub to domestic abuse, other brutal assaults, and murder. Figures differ by country, but essentially 50% of all violent crime and sexual assault is committed by drunk offenders.
50%? Did I hear that right? 50%? That's nuts. That is nuts. I didn't realize it was that high.
Each year, alcohol-fueled crime kills about 100,000 people. That's a city like Pisa being massacred every year by a drunk mob. And then you have all the non-lethal victims. In England alone, 500,000 adults are injured every year in accidents caused by drunk people.
Home country represent, England.
Another 800,000 get hurt in violent attacks by drunk offenders. Zoomed out to the rest of the drinking world, this means that every year dozens of millions are physically harmed by someone else's drinking.
Wow.
The most innocent bystanders are the 600,000 babies born every year with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, a devastating lifelong
Oh, is that because the mother drank so much? Jeez.
condition caused by drinking during pregnancy. Alcohol is nothing short of a global catastrophe. The final toll, the hijacking of 400 million lives. When your drinking escalates to a point that it causes real harm to
That's a population the size of the United States, just to put it in perspective. That's a lot of people.
yourself or others, you've crossed the invisible line to alcoholism. An estimated 400 million people, 1 in 14 adults, are in this territory. The line is very fuzzy and varies from person to person, but if you consistently drink 8 beers per week as a woman, 15 as a man, or 5 on the same day, you've either crossed the line or are dangerously walking towards it. Of those 400 million, more than half have fallen into an even deeper trap: dependence. When alcohol has become something that you physically or psychologically need. In Europe and the Americas, 1 in 20 adults are caught in this web.
That'd be terrifying for me. Honestly. Like, when I hear of, like, what is it, Bert Kreischer always, like, the comedian. It's like always sort of talking about drinking, how he loves to drink and how he really enjoys a drink and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I'd be terrified of that. I really would be terrified of that. I mean, I enjoy a beer, don't get me wrong. I really, really do. But the idea of being an alcoholic, the idea of not being able to get through a day without one, the idea of not being able to go a week without a drink. I mean, I know so many people where I grew up who are just like that. It's really bad.
The stereotype of alcoholism is one of extremes. A homeless person clutching a bottle or an
Well, the thing about alcoholics is, I mean, there's a lot of middle-class alcoholism. I mean, these are people, the professional people who can hold a life, but they're, like, constantly hungover and they're always up for a drink, you know? Especially if it's in socially acceptable situations, like, you know, like, for example, the UK, or if you're in a city in, like, London, where professional people are out drinking all the time.
always drunk father shouting at his kids, but it can be far more silent. A US study found that up to 50% of all alcoholics may fly under the radar. They come in two main groups: unproblematic young adults and middle-aged professionals with successful careers and families. As one of them, you'll show no antisocial behavior. You'll fulfill your obligations. You'll probably have no diagnosed health conditions. But on average, you'll be having 4 beers a day and will get drunk every week. And neither you nor your family may notice. No one questions a drink at dinner, after work, or at a
See, that's the thing you have to look out for. That's when it starts to creep up on you. Like, take an actual second and think to yourself, like, are you on that spectrum? Like, do you drink multiple times per week? You know what I'm saying? Because if that's you, and it's often things we never think about, like, it's just something we accept.
Party. But it's exactly that makes alcohol so dangerous. No other drug is so widely accepted, casually consumed, and easily ignored. So, okay, how did we come to this? A pact with the devil. We made a pact with alcohol to help us solve one of the greatest challenges of being human. Human interaction is messy. We long for closeness, but we're also anxious, awkward, and wary of each other. Am I talking too much? Do they actually like me? What if I say something stupid? There are many ways to navigate this. Alcohol is not the solution, but it is definitely one of them. It is a real and effortless solution to the problem of connecting with others. Studies confirm what we've known for millennia. Modest quantities of alcohol help strangers bond. And individuals who drink moderately and socially tend to have more friends, closer friendships, and higher levels of trust in others. So if we want to step away from alcohol, we need to be honest about what we gain from it. For millennia, we've been giving it our health and years of our lives. And in return, alcohol gave us confidence, connection, and celebration. But right now, this is changing rapidly. Younger generations, and especially Gen Z, are drinking far less than their parents did. In the US, the share of 18-year-olds who have ever tried alcohol has dropped by 25% in the last decades. Binge drinking in adolescence has plummeted by 50%. And even in
That was a big one when I was growing up. Binge drinking. You'd have your friends and you'd see their dads, and they'd be like drinking every day. Their wives would have to kind of help them up to bed type deal. Like, that kind of stuff was just considered socially acceptable. And then you'd see your friends do it, that they'd get into the same thing. You know what I mean? The crate challenge. We have to basically drink a big crate of beer in the park. And that was considered like, I don't want to say a rite of passage, but kinda.
countries like Germany or France, where beer and wine have always been part of the cultural DNA, alcohol consumption is falling. And that's a victory. Fewer accidents, fewer hospital beds filled, fewer lives quietly derailed. But at the same time, other things have been falling too. The share of young people who see their friends almost every day has plummeted by 50%. Attendance at parties has fallen by 30%. Dating and casual sex have fallen by a similar amount.
So it's almost like what's happened is younger people aren't taking the social lubricant, so to speak, but there hasn't been a social fix to the problem that alcohol, like, crudely was a solution for. That's kind of how I'm interpreting this. And it seems to me that people are replacing that interaction with just isolating themselves. I suspect with apps, social media is probably playing a role where you're not like directly confronted with the person and there's a disconnect, which is a problem because we're not built for that.
All while loneliness and mental health issues have skyrocketed. There are many different reasons for this, from COVID to social media. But the shift in which drugs we consume is probably not totally unrelated either. Drugs like weed have gained ground massively, and in contrast to drinking, smoking weed tends to make many people less energetic and likely to do things, more socially awkward, and especially if you use a lot of it, more lonely. Alcohol has been a powerful and influential tool for sharing, celebrating, and enjoying life with others for thousands of years. If the West is on the path to drinking less, we might also be on the path to something completely new, a future where we connect and rejoice without a poisonous chemical crutch, or at least without this specific one. It's up to us to figure out what comes next.
How you doing, guys? If you've made it this far, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out the rest of my channel. Thanks.